The insert embeddable media, if you click on it, it will allow you to copy URLs from the internet if you wish to embed them. Honestly, the only things that I really embed, and there's two types of content that most people embed from the web, and that's video and audio. If you're embedding audio, typically there's a flash player or some sort of player that you can use to embed. If you're a video, you're probably getting it from YouTube, Vimeo, Vidler, or one of the other video hosting sites. And all of those sites will give you an embed code. So what you can do that's a lot easier than actually using the button. Let's go to YouTube. And let's just pull this random video. It can't be that bad. It's on YouTube. I heard chuckles back there. No, I'm just kidding. So there's an embed code right here. You would copy it. And over here, for those of you who are HTML literate, this will give you a view of the source code. So you can click on this tab that says HTML. You can paste the embed code in that you've just pulled from YouTube. And there's a nice yellow placeholder box that will allow you to size that YouTube video however big or small that you want it. The same goes with any embeddable media. Any embeddable media that has an embed code will have a placeholder box. So you can size it, you can move it where you want to, you can place your content around it, through it, in it, however you want to do it. And if I were to publish this page, it would just show the YouTube box.
What
Yes?
to do embed a URL, what do you get?
What is that?
You said you don't normally embed a URL, but
Yes.
if you do, what do you get?
If you're given a YouTube URL, you can click on the embeddable media box and click on File/URL, and it will drop in. It'll pull the embed code automatically from that video. If you're running a podcast and have like an MP3 file, then there are plugins that you can use that will auto-detect that for you, and it'll wrap a player around there for you. If I have time, I will cover it, but there's a lot of other stuff. Yeah, it's a plugin that's called, I think, just Audio Player. I could be wrong, but I'll look that up for sure. But it basically, you insert the MP3, and then it wraps itself around the MP3 and gives you a nice flash player to go down to. If you're running a podcast, that's a different story. Like I said, if I have time, I'll cover it, but there's a plugin that will let you set up everything for your podcast, including it being able to submit it to iTunes through the back end of WordPress.
What's that plugin
really,
called?
really handy. What?
Do you know what the plugin's called?
It's called PowerPress. They're coming out with a new version. Everything's going to be written in HTML5.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
You can use it now. It'll degrade. So, and we'll talk about that too, because every time you get a plugin, you can upgrade it pretty easily too. So.
Hey, Mitch, how do you resize the videos with the yellow box?
Oh, sure.
Tab on the edge.
Little reticles here, and it gives you a resizer.
Just blew my mind.
And it keeps your aspect ratio for you as well.
It look like video size.
If you write a lot of foreign type blogs, you may need currency symbols or other symbols. Yen, euro, per mil sign, any accent grave or circumflex that you could ever want is all right here. And it gives you the code. You just type it, and it drops it in for you. Excuse me. We have outdent and indent, which lets you, of course, add tab spacing to the left side. My popular and favorite button here, the undo button and the redo button. And then if you ever, what is it?
Will the typical actions like Control-Z work as well?
Yes, and there's actually a shortcut menu. If you click on the question mark symbol, it'll give you a list of all of the hotkeys and their equivalents inside of the visual editor. So Control-C, Control-V, Control-A, Control-B, Control-U, Control-I, anything that works in a word processor would work here as well. So those are all of the toolbars for creating really, really awesome content. There's a couple of other things on the page that I want to cover too.
Will you show how to
Yes.
do you have time to show how to embed a photo real quick?
Yes, thank you very much. I always forget that. So above the WordPress editor, there's 4 little buttons here. There's insert an image, insert a video, insert audio, and add media. The two that I use the most frequently, like I said, with audio and video, typically I've either got a plugin that helps me with it, or I'm pulling it from an external site like YouTube. So the two that I use the most are the Add the Image and Add Media. Add Media will let you upload any file that you want and insert a link to it. So if you want to upload a zip file, click the Add Media button, upload the zip file, insert it into the post, and it creates a text link straight to that file for you. Same goes for PDFs, Word documents, etc. Photos are a little different. So let's upload a photo just so I can show you how it works. And actually, I'm going to upload 3. So let's go to my photo library. We'll just pick 3 random photos from here. Not there, that's my prom pictures. Let's pick 3 from here. So we'll just pick 3 random photos. Okay, so I just picked 3 at random and hit upload. Number 1, you notice that I can upload all of them at once. So I can select as many photos as I want to upload and upload them all at the same time. When you upload a photo in WordPress, 3 things happen. Number 1, it creates for you 3 to 4 different versions of the photo. It creates a thumbnail version, a small version, a medium version, and then allows the full version to rest on your website. Because obviously these are 2300 pixels. They're about 5 to 7 megapixel pictures. They're not going to fit if I were to try and put them on my website. So it shrinks them down and lets me click on a smaller version to go to the larger version of the picture. Okay, so they're all uploaded. Okay, so we'll click on it, and there's a couple things I can do. I can give it a title, and I can add alt text. Alt text is important. People who can't see your website get this text read to them as they view your website. So, and I can actually just enter in whatever I want for sake of argument. I'll just put the same thing as the title. If I wanted to add a caption, it would actually drop small text underneath the photo that is enveloped in the photo caption area. So it would be more like a Polaroid. It would have the photo and then a little byline underneath it. Really, really cool look, and really, really cool for like news magazines or websites that use those.
Is that Google Spider then?
Yes. It's text on the page. Anything that's text on the page is fair game to Google. So the description isn't used. It's just for your own personal benefit. If you upload a lot of photos, you can set a description. Link URL. I can either tell it to link to the file, which is the larger version of the image. WordPress will also create an attachment page if you wanted people to comment on the photo, you could. Or you can say none and just leave it as a photo. So I'm going to say none for the moment. I can have it to where it's no alignment, where it's centered in the middle of my content with blank space on the ends. Or I can have it to where the text wraps around to the right or wraps around to the left, depending on where the picture is. So we'll left align it, and then you can tell it what size to enter. So I'm going to use a medium size. And so as you can see, as I type, that text is wrapped around that photo. Okay? Now, something else that's really, really nice about WordPress. Actually, I don't have it on there. But I know someone that is. I want to try and give you some real-world use of examples of WordPress as well. So this is Mind Punch. He uses it for his photographic portfolio. WordPress will allow you to insert a photo gallery automatically based on the photos that you upload. So I uploaded 3 photos here. It's really nice because WordPress will actually take the thumbnails of those photos, drop them into however many columns that I give it, and with the right plugins, will actually show a really, really nice flow-through of all of the different photos that I have.
And what would that plugin be?
It's called jQuery Lightbox. If I were to just do it without the plugin, then it would just take me to the larger version of the images, which is still nice. But I kind of like the the show of this nice little gallery. So it's called, yes.
Sorry, weird question, but
Yeah.
clicking through those pictures, does that count as page views?
No.
Different pages? All right, so that's
No.
inside one single page.
Yeah. The way that works is basically it uses a JavaScript form called Lightbox, which actually goes through the pictures, it groups them together, and then creates a slideshow for you on the fly. WordPress, the built-in gallery, like I said, just takes you to a larger version of the photo. I like the jQuery Lightbox because I think it just gives it a little bit more flair. And it helps to create a good user experience when people are just looking through the photos. If you've got hundreds and hundreds of photos, drop in the gallery, WordPress drops all the thumbnails for you in. They click on the first thumbnail, and through the whole slideshow they can go. It's really, really nice.
Is there a plugin for video that does it as well?
No, not that I know of. And if you find one, let me know, because that would be fantastic. When I do that, I have to hand code them from scratch, which isn't necessarily easy for the user or our client to be able to edit. So, but there's really no easy way to do that I know of that doesn't cost hundreds of dollars a month. So, all right. So that's adding content of all sorts. You're not done whenever you do this. I'm going to gloss over some of the other stuff in here because some of it you'll use a lot and some of it you may never use. So we talked about the excerpt. Has anybody ever heard of a trackback? Does anybody have no idea what a trackback is because no one's told them? Okay. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I write a blog post. Actually, no, I'm not going to be that conceited. Let's say Scott writes a really, really awesome blog post. And you guys all like what Scott has to say on his blog post. So John goes to Scott's blog and copies some of the text. Or not. He doesn't have to. But let's say that he talks about it and writes some more on his blog, sort of an analysis of Scott's content. You guys are both running WordPress. As soon as John hits publish, his blog is going to ping his blog if there's a hyperlink reference to it. So if he links to Scott, then WordPress automatically goes out to the other WordPress installation and say, hey, somebody's written about you. And it drops a link in Scott's comments that he can show that John has written something about him. Okay? If, heaven forbid, Scott was on Blogger and John was on WordPress, there would be what would be called a trackback URL. And you would put that in here, and it would go to that URL, which serves as a ping point for those other blogs. So, movable type, Blogger, Squarespace, I think, Discuss, if they use a different commenting engine, Intense Debate, all have URLs that are used if somebody is writing about that post. It was invented as a way for bloggers to communicate with each other without actually having to speak to each other. That way somebody could copy somebody's article, write a little bit of analysis, and say, yeah, I think he's full of crap, or absolutely, I agree. Unfortunately, it's sort of degraded into a form of spam. But you can still use it and use it effectively and get people noticing your content as well. Yes?
All right, so what triggers it to look and say, oh, it's...
He hits the publish button. He sends a signal to Scott's blog.
But what is he saying when he's publishing something?
A hyperlink. As long as John hyperlinks to Scott's blog, then any hyperlinks that are put in there are automatically pinged.
Okay.
If there's no signal back, nothing happens. If there's a response back, Scott gets a trackback notification. Yes?
Don't trackbacks pull you up higher in Google rankings?
Absolutely. Because it's linked back and forth. Now, that does have to do if your blog is set to either do follow or no follow, which this is not an SEO talk, but I'll briefly talk about it. Do follow means that any links on your site give juice back to the links that it's going out to. No follow means that it stops, right? The buck stops here. Anything that you go out too fast at, they don't get any benefit from you linking to them. Is that a pretty good explanation? Okay. Custom fields. You guys may never use this, but custom fields are a way that plugins and even some information-savvy people and some themes use it as well. Basically, you know on Blogger when it used to say, today I'm feeling happy, or the music I'm listening to, or something like that. You can insert those as variables in the custom field, and if the theme is set up for it, it'll pull those variables out. Like I said, I'm not going to cover it in depth because it's sort of an advanced use. A lot of plugins will use custom fields to store data from that particular post inside of the post. So the only thing that you need to know about it that is for the beginning user is that it stores extra data about the post inside of the data.